Yeah, man, how you doing?
I don't think that you guys can see it, but I have chills right now after looking at that clip from Major League Baseball. If you guys want to watch the rest of it, I'll go ahead and put the link in the description down below because due to copyright on YouTube, I can't include the entire thing. But it is worth the watch, and we have a crazy episode of MLB Recap on our hands today. We have the first trade of 2020. We have Robert Manfred putting his foot in his mouth yet again and kind of exposes the owners, but then he retracts it. We also have updates on Mike Trout. He just came out today with a statement that he doesn't feel comfortable playing baseball in 2020. So we have so many things to talk about. And then last but not least, Jose Quintana. He's going to miss some time because he just injured his thumb, and it was in the weirdest way possible. So we'll talk about that. But breaking news right now, the All-Star game, if it wasn't obvious already, has been canceled. So that does suck for me because I usually get a paycheck because I host an event at the All-Star game, and it's always the most fun thing of the year for me, meeting you guys and traveling around, and also the fact that it was in LA. It's a 3-hour drive. It has been moved to 2022, which kind of concerns me. Why not 2021? It makes me think that we're not going to play baseball in 2021 because if you guys didn't know, the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, it is up after this season, and we're going to have to try and negotiate it. It's just, between 2020 and 2021, baseball has suffered a couple black eyes. But moving on to the first trade of the 2020 Major League Baseball season. This was a big-time trade, in my opinion. A lot of people were clowning me on Twitter because they don't think that this guy is going to be very good. But the Oakland Athletics, they decided to trade one of their top prospects, Jorge Mateo, to the San Diego Padres. And I think they traded him for a player to be named later. So the A's didn't really get much back in return, which is wild considering he made the AAA All-Star team last year. If you've never heard of Jorge Mateo, all I really have to say is he has Billy Hamilton type speed with a good amount of pop. Now, a lot of analytical people are going to say he's not very good. His WRC plus is this, his OPS is that. He strikes out a lot. I've seen the kid play in person. He's 24 years old. He still has a lot of time to grow. I've probably showed his home run as you guys are watching this, but if you've never seen him run, my God, this guy can absolutely fly. He makes Billy Hamilton look like an average person. So take a look.
3-1 pitch on the way, liner in the right field, peeling away from Ramos. He's not going to get it. It's over his head. One hops the fence. Mateo rounds first, on his way to second. Round second. He's on his way to third. The throw is not in time.
Now that we have the first trade out the way, let's go ahead and talk about our boy, Mr. Manfred. Robbie himself. Oh no, I cannot believe that he said this. Now, I will give him the benefit of the doubt. After watching him the last year just try and talk sentences, I do think that he suffers from brain fog. I think that he has something in mind, and then he just goes off the rails. He has no idea what he's saying. He kind of blacks out. Sometimes I do that. I don't know if you guys ever have that as well, where you're saying something, and then you're like, where? I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. So Robert Manfred came out and said that there was never going to be a Major League Baseball season in which more than 60 games were played. So what were we doing the last month or two? Arguing back and forth, 80 games, 114 games, 72 games, if there was never going to be more than 60 games. We just wasted all that time. So, I mean, if you don't believe me, he said it right here.
The reality is we weren't going to play more than 60 games no matter how the negotiation with the players went or any other factor.
Now, again, I did say a couple seconds ago that I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt because the reason why he said there wasn't going to be any more than 60 games wasn't because the owners were saying, no, we are not playing more than 60. He clarified it. He added some context. He said that there was never going to be more than 60 games because of the global situation and the pandemic that is going around. So we'll talk about the pandemic in just a second. It is already affecting the Indians. And oh my, that Corey Kluber trade, we're 0 for 2 on the players that were involved. So we'll talk about that. Ooh, I cannot believe that we did that. So sit tight. Let's talk about Gerrit Cole for a second. So Gerrit Cole, he just gave birth. Now,
what?
His wife just gave birth. That would be really weird. He is not a seahorse, but his wife just gave birth. I believe his name is Caden Gerrit Cole, which is funny because his initials are CG. So you could call him Complete Game Cole already. And I think that the Blue Jays already have this kid on their radar. Look for him to be drafted #1 overall by the Blue Jays in 2040 or something like that. Because if you guys didn't know, Craig Biggio's son, Kevin Biggio's on the Blue Jays. Dante Bichette's son, Bo Bichette, is on the Blue Jays. You have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and also Casey Clemens, the son of Roger Clemens. So the Blue Jays, they're just farming all of the air to the former superstars of Major League Baseball. So I fully expect Gerrit Cole's son to be a member of the Blue Jays in the near time future. But I do want to mention one thing about babies, because this is going to factor into Mike Trout's decision. Did you guys know? So I took biology. I was a major in it. I can promise you I'm not lying. Babies do not have a mature immune system until about 2 or 3 months old. Why is that relevant? Why do we feel like we're in school right now, Fuzzy? Well, Gerrit Cole has a newborn baby. If Gerrit Cole gets the corona, and he gives it to his newborn son, there's no immune system to fight it off. And that's what Mike Trout has to consider right now. He actually came out with a statement. He said, honestly, I still don't feel that comfortable. It's gonna be tough. I've got to really be cautious these next couple weeks. I don't want to test positive. I don't want to bring it back to my wife. It's a tough situation to be in. So we can see that Mike Trout is very concerned. And he is the only one on the Angels roster right now that is currently on the field. There was a picture that leaked of him running the bases with the mask on. Everyone else, including the pitchers that are warming up in the bullpen, they're not wearing any mask. But Mike Trout, he is so over precautious, and I don't blame him, because again, babies do not have an immune system for 2 or 3 months. So if his wife gets it, or if the newborn gets it, it's not going to be good. And honestly, if Mike Trout gets it, he has to wait 14 days to see that baby. And I don't think he wants to risk that. So it's not clickbait when I say that Mike Trout might sit out 2020. Now, he might not sit out the entire season, but let's say in 2 or 3 months when his wife does give birth, he might have to go ahead and say, I'm out, guys. I got to go spend this time with my newborn son. And the counter argument was the fact that the baby is not going to remember being there with his dad the first 3 years of his life. It's not about the baby. It's like when you go to Disneyland with your newborn child, it's not for the baby. It's for you to take pictures. It's for your experiences. You're going to remember that as a parent. So all of that, just go away with that nonsense. So I am on the side of Mike Trout, Gerrit Cole. If they do decide to sit out, you have to give the benefit of the doubt to the people that are putting themselves at risk. So all of the people that work in restaurants and retail, if they want to sit out because they are putting their family members' health before money, I respect that all the way. Now, I do want to say, Joe Madden, the manager of the Angels, and obviously the manager of Mike Trout himself, came out with a statement, but this came from a tweet. Bob Nightingale put this out. If you don't know who Bob Nightingale is, he's the Sauce Man 2.0. His tweets usually don't make sense, and they're always kind of counterproductive to what he actually meant to say. He put out a tweet saying that Joe Madden said this: the person that opts out is the person who doesn't want to follow the protocols at any risk. If you in your heart of hearts don't believe you can do this, you're the person who should opt out. So if you look at it at a first glance basis, it sounds like Joe Madden is calling out the best player in baseball, the best player on his own team, just a few hours after Mike Trout said, you know what, I don't feel very comfortable. What it sounds like is that Joe Madden says, look, man, if you don't want to go through the protocols, if you don't want to take the risk, just opt out already. He's kind of calling him out, like, do it, like, nut up or shut up and sit out already. But that's the unfortunate part about giving a quote to Bob Nightingale and not Fuzzy, is I'm going to give you the full quote and the full context. Nightingale is going to make you seem like a POS, because what Joe Madden really meant to say is that if you in your heart don't believe that you can follow the protocols, you should opt out. So he's talking about guys that might not be able to handle being alone for 3 months. Maybe they Uber to a restaurant. Maybe they have a Tinder date come over. He's talking about those guys. Guys that only care about themselves and their paycheck and are not willing to understand that other lives are at risk and they might bring outsiders into the equation. So that's what he was talking about. Do not hate on Mike Trout. Do not hate on Joe Madden. He was misrepresented, and I kind of feel bad for the guy. So that's where we're at right now in terms of Gerrit Cole, Mike Trout. We also have some updates of other players that have tested positive. Scott Kingery and Delino DeShields are the two biggest names. And Scott Kingery, he can ball, dude. Delino, not so much with the bat, but he is a great defender, and he's really good on the base pass. So we're 0 for 2 with that trade for Corey Kluber. We traded Corey Kluber for Emmanuel Clase, who was banned for 80 games, and also Delino, who might have to miss some of the season because he just had... Oh no, dude. Being an Indians fan is one of the most frustrating things I've ever had to endure in my entire life. Like, I'm fine with it because we've made the World Series. We have the record for most consecutive wins. Like, I've been blessed. I saw Grady Sizemore play live. He changed my life. But man, like, the baseball gods do not like the Cleveland Indians. But if you guys are wondering how life is going to be for the baseball players, I'm going to shout out my man Michael Chavis, who tweeted out a video of him in Fenway Park and how his locker room is one of the suites in the stands, which is pretty cool. So if you guys are wondering, this is what their life is going to be like for the next couple months. All right, everyone, so last but not least, before we get into this day in Major League Baseball history, Jose Quintana, he was not good in 2019. I think that we can all universally agree with that, but he's still a solid 3 or 4 starter going into 2020. Maybe not so much because he lacerated his thumb, wait for it, doing the dishes. You are a Major League pitcher. Protect yourself. Wear you know how people go in the ocean and they wear that chain stuff? Wear some chain gloves or something. These are your prized possessions, your money makers. When you involve knives, you gotta be more careful. So that's gonna do it for today's video. Please let me know in the comment section down below, what do you make of the San Diego Padres trading for Jorge Mateo? Robert Manfred kind of exposes the owners, but then clarifies what he meant to say. We have Gerrit Cole and his wife having a newborn son, how that might affect the rest of the league, how it puts it into perspective. Like, babies don't have immune systems until 2 or 3 months into their life. And then Jose Quintana, what's gonna happen with him? But thank you guys for watching. We're about to show you guys this day in Major League Baseball history, where we show you what has happened on today's day in the past. Hope you guys learned something new. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Galarraga, 2 home runs, a double, 2 singles. 2-2 pitch. Drives this one into center field. The cat is aboard as he pounces on the pitch. 6 hits in the ball game.
Ochoa's got to go for the cycle because he hits the ball over the wall right now. Mets take the lead. Go for it.
Here's the 1-2. In the air. Pretty deep. In Cavilla back. That's the cycle. Alex Ochoa has hit a home run, and that is the cycle for Ochoa.
Thome hits one pretty well. Deep left center field. White going back on the track. Goodbye, baseball. Jim Thome has done it again. 7 consecutive games with a home run. His 26th of the year.
Ooh. Gets Joe Mauer looking right there at a fastball. We'll do it again, another 2-2 delivery. And a fastball up and away, and Doma chases out of the zone. Some back-to-back strikeouts for Sabathia.